Hi guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay, so today I'm doing Brittany Murphy. First off, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It's free. Okay, so Brittany Ann Bertolotti was born November 10th, 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia. Her mom was Sharon Murphy. Her dad was Angelo Joseph Bertolotti. Her parents divorced when she was 2 years old. She was raised by her mom in Edison, New Jersey. All right, so just prior to enrolling at Edison High School, they moved to Los Angeles in 1991 so that Murphy could pursue an acting career. Murphy said her mother never tried to stifle her creativity, and she considered her mother a crucial factor in her later success. When I asked my mom to move to California, she sold everything and moved out here for me. She's always believed in me. That was a direct quote from Brittany, by the way. She has two older half-brothers and a younger half-sister through her biological dad. Murphy attended Vern Fowler School of Dance and Theater Arts in Colonia, New Jersey in 1982. From the age of 4, she trained in singing, dancing, and acting until her move to California at 13 years old. Murphy made her Broadway debut in 1997 as Catherine in the revival of Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge, opposite veteran actors Anthony LaPaglia and Allison Janney. Ooh, I like Allison Janney. Murphy landed her first job in Hollywood when she was 13, starring as Brenda Drexel in the series Drexel's Class. She then went on to play Molly Morgan in the short-lived The Torkelson spinoff Almost Home. Murphy went on to guest star on several TV shows. Her breakthrough role was in her second feature film, the teen comedy Clueless, in 1995. So if you haven't seen the movie Clueless, I don't know where you've been all these years. Excuse me. Murphy went on to star in many films. In late 2002, Murphy began dating Ashton Kutcher, her co-star in Just Married. That's a funny movie. Once engaged to talent manager Jeff Wadenetz, Murphy became engaged to Joe Macaluso in December 2005. He was a production assistant that she met while she was working on the film Little Black Book. In August 2006, they ended their engagement. May of 2007, Brittany married British screenwriter Simon Monjack in a private Jewish ceremony in Los Angeles. For the last 3.5 years of her life, Murphy, her mother, and her husband lived together. In the early 2000s, Murphy lost a large amount of weight, which led to rumors of a cocaine addiction. In 2005, Murphy disputed such claims to Jane magazine, saying, quote, "No, just for the record, I have never tried it in my entire life," close quote. Okay, it looks like I have a black eye. I don't. My eyes are like watering and burning and stinging. I don't know what the heck's going on. Okay. At this point, she had recently signed as the spokesperson for Jordache Jeans. So this is after the whole I've never tried cocaine thing. At 8 a.m. on December 20th, 2009, the LA Fire Department responded to a medical request at the LA home Murphy and Monjack shared. Brittany had apparently collapsed in a bathroom. Firefighters attempted to resuscitate Murphy on the scene. She was transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she died at 10:04 after going into cardiac arrest. Shortly after her death, Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter told the Associated Press it appears to be natural. An autopsy was performed the day after she died. Her death certificate listed the cause of death as deferred. On February 4th, 2010, the LA County Coroner stated that the primary cause of Murphy's death was pneumonia with secondary factors of iron deficiency, anemia, and multiple drug intoxications. On February 25th, 2010, the coroner released a report stating that Murphy had taken a range of over-the-counter medicines as well as prescription medications, with the most likely reason being a cold or a respiratory infection. These include elevated levels of hydrocodone, acetaminophen, L-methamphetamine, and chlorpheniramine. I don't know. All the drugs were legal, and the death was ruled to be an accident, but the report observed the possible adverse physiological effects of elevated levels of these medications cannot be discounted, especially in her weakened state. On December 24th, 2009, On December 24th, 2009, Murphy was buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. That's where Michael Jackson's buried. On May 23rd, 2010, her widower, Simon Monjack, was found dead at the same Hollywood Hills residence. In July 2010, LA Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter stated that the cause of his death was acute pneumonia and severe anemia. It was reported that the LA County Department of Health had considered toxic mold in their house as a possible cause of death, but this was dismissed by Ed Winter, who stated that there were no indicators that mold was a factor. Murphy's mother, Sharon, described the reports of mold contributing to the deaths as absurd and went on to state that inspecting the house for mold was never requested by the health department. In December 2011, Sharon Murphy changed her stance, announcing that toxic mold was indeed what killed her daughter and son-in-law. She filed a lawsuit against the attorneys who represented her in an earlier suit against the builders of the home where her daughter and son-in-law died. On January 11, 2012, her father, Angelo Bertolotti, applied to the Superior Court of California requesting that the LA County Coroner's Office be required to hand over samples of his daughter's hair for independent testing. The suit was dismissed on July 19, 2012, after Bertolotti failed to attend 2 separate hearings. In November 2013, Angelo Bertolotti claimed that a toxicology report showed that deliberate poisoning by heavy metals, including antimony and barium, was a possible cause of Brittany Murphy's death. Sharon Murphy described the claim as a, quote, smear, close quote. Apparently they don't like each other. Okay, I was able to connect with Brittany. She came through. She looked different. She looked like she did in Clueless, where she had a little bit more weight on her, and her hair was dark and curly, so she must have been like in her teens. She looked good though. I explained who I was, what I wanted, that I was going to ask her some tough questions about her and her husband's death. I asked if she could explain how she died. So she started off by saying that she did have a problem with her weight, that Hollywood on several occasions told her she was too fat, she needed to lose weight, so she had decided at that point that she was going to make the whole acting thing work to support her and her mother, and she was going to do whatever it took to get the weight off, and that's what she did. And she ended up developing kind of like an eating disorder, and yeah. She talks about the last few weeks of her life, how she had, just become like so weak and just didn't feel like herself at all. She didn't feel like she could do anything. She was explaining how even just walking to the bathroom was a major chore, and she just felt horrible. She thought it was because she had this nasty cold. She felt drained and out of it. So she went on to say that Simon began to give her pain medication because she was coughing so bad and she wasn't able to sleep. So he gave her pain medication, so she could sleep. Okay, she went on to talk about how the last 5 years of her death, she was taking some forms of medication all the time. She wouldn't go into specifics, but probably put 2 and 2 together and figure it out. Okay, I asked if we could talk about her husband, Simon. She said definitely, and he actually came through. She said there was something about him. She fell in love with him after, being around him a few times, and his immigration status, was kind of sketchy at that point, and she was in love with him, so she decided, I'll just get married sooner rather than later. So they got married. I asked if her death was a result of pneumonia, anemia, and the medications that she was taking, and she stated, just because that's what they're saying I died from doesn't mean that's what I died from. Wink, wink. So, in other words, she was trying to not say what she really thinks she died from. I don't know, y'all. Okay, so she went on to talk about some really specific things that her and Simon were aware of with that. Yeah. She said when she realized she had passed, she was in fear for Simon and her mother. And then Simon passed, and she continues to be in fear for her mother. So Simon had come in, and she was talking about Simon knew what these guys are capable of. And Simon just kind of acknowledged the same thing. I asked both her and Simon, do you guys see each other a lot where you are? And she said, yeah, we see each other all the time. He said, yeah. And she jokingly said, but Simon had a lot more to work on when he got here than I did. And he laughed and said, definitely. I asked her about Simon, because it's been said that he was a con artist and he was involved in a lot of like scamming type issues and, you know, laundering money. I mean, there was all kinds of things that people were saying. So I asked her and him, like, what's true out of all this? And Brittany acknowledged that Simon had in fact been involved in a lot of shady stuff, that, you know, he was trying to turn his life around and get away from it, but it's hard to get away from people like that. And Simon said, well, they both said, because Brittany said at the beginning, that there was no reason to say too much about it because what's done is done, basically. And she's in fear for her mom's life. So, and Simon said, you know, the same thing. And here's what I said. I said there was an article that stated that Brittany's mother, after she passed, slept in the same bed with Simon. You know, her mom had always said Simon was like the son she never had and such. And I said, what's the truth about all that? You know, Simon, was your mother-in-law sleeping in bed with you? And this is what was said. No, she wasn't, quote, sleeping in bed with me. When I was depressed, she would come and lay in the bed and just try to console me. He said, but it wasn't like I was having any kind of a relationship with her. She was my mother-in-law. So I was kind of glad to hear that because it kind of creeped me out when I first started hearing that stuff. Brittany reiterated again that there was no point in going over this negativity and this stuff that Simon had been involved in prior to their deaths. It wasn't going to get anybody anywhere. You know, he was trying to change his life. In her eyes, that's what was important. Well, yeah, okay, he did a lot of bad stuff, but he was trying to change his life. So, I guess we just leave it at that. But this case is just so sad. You know, she died so young. And then, you know, what was she, 33 and he was 40. And it's just sad, y'all. It's just really sad. And I hope that Brittany's mom's going to be okay. So, be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy. Check on your friends. Check on your neighbors. Make sure everybody's okay. Yeah. So, it's Monday. Yuck. I hope everybody has a great week. That about does it for me. Bye, guys.